me purchased, that they bought their, that they bought their kudos. They bought their, in other words, in order for them to receive that, what is it called? That email of, approval or customer service. I can't think of the word, Father. What's the word? It's anyway. So in order for them to receive that, I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. Feedback. In order for them to receive that feedback, thank you, then they had to do something. And the gentleman that sent that feedback in December, they had each given him a basket full, 3 baskets full of things, candy, toys, just different things that they thought this man would enjoy. And it wasn't just for him. I guess he has grandkids or kids or I don't know. But they know his life story because they talk to him a lot and they've known him for years. So they brought these 3 gifts to him and then mentioned to him that they've never received good feedback from customers. And he's like, really? This is how God laid it out that they did this. They planted the seed with the 3 baskets and then they kept working on it. I've never done that. God has never led me to purchase anyone's feedback using anything but my smile. My smile and my willingness to serve. That's how I give my feedback. And so the manager was floored because now his store has an announcement on Yelp about the service that they provide. And not in a way that is like, yeah, customer service was great. I mean, they actually went through, that's why it can only be bought from God, because they went through and they put our conversation on the Yelp review. The history of the family, they put the history of the food, and they put in that everything was fantastic and everything they tried was great. Because I talked about how the family once a year, at least this particular owner, once a year will take all of the proceeds from his stores for one day and donates it to St. Mary's Food Bank. He does this. And of all of his siblings, he is the only sibling that is wealthy. There's reasons why God blesses people in a certain way. There's reasons why people are chosen and sent to certain places. There's reasons why only certain people receive certain blessings. Because they're only obedient in certain ways. They're only obedient in certain areas. They're only obedient in certain things that God is leading them to be obedient about. And so when I saw this message, I just, because I was so focused on work, I kept coming back to it. And then God says, look who sent it. And I'm like, okay, that's the owner. And he goes, look who sent it to the owner. I would have thought, because I told them that my boss, my manager, Cody, he goes out and he looks at Yelp reviews. That's why they put it out there, because I told them that my boss looks for those reviews. And they're like, okay, so we're going to put a Yelp review. And I was like, okay, but you don't have to. And it's okay. If they don't, it's okay. And I left it to God. I'm like, it's up to you, God. If they do, if they don't, I'm okay with it. Because other people have told me that they were going to write a letter talking about how wonderful my service was and how great of a personality I have, and nothing came of it. I'm like, I'm not here for the accolades. That's the word, accolades. I'm not here for the accolades. I'm not here for the good words. I'm not working for the words. I'm working for the man. I'm working for the God. I'm working for the one. And the joy that I feel working for him just supersedes everything else. And so I'm there, and I'm doing all this, and I keep coming back to this paper, and God said, pin it. And I'm like, pin it where? Pin it. Oh, well, he had led me to see who sent the email to the owner. It turns out the owner has a company that he has contracted to go out and look for reviews. And apparently this is the first time that this store has received a Yelp review with 5 stars. And when those reviews go out, like, I can just see a waterfall, because there is a hotel that is right next door to us, and they have a Facebook page where all of the people that have ever stayed with them get to go and see, like, what's going on, what suggestions for the area, because a lot of these people are coming in from out of town, so they don't know the area. And every single guest that comes to stay there gets told, go to Barros. That's where you want to eat. That is where you want to take your family, because they have the best food, the best prices, they're economical, they're affordable, and they are good, and their customer service is amazing. That's what I've been told from other people who stay there, who have access to that Facebook page, are saying about us. I told this to the boss man, to Cody, and I said, hey, don't know if you know this, but they have a Facebook page and they're talking about us. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes. And he's like, yes. And so all of the things that I've been talking to him about, the taste of the food, the customer service, all of that is bearing fruit now. So I told them, I said, the tomato sauce is too acidic. That means it's on the verge. I said, it's not bad, because it's not, tomato sauce, when it starts to become acidic, it's starting to turn. And you really shouldn't wait too much longer to get rid of that sauce, because then it's going to be bad. And so at first he's like, oh, it's because they put too much this. I said, no, it's acidic because it's old. I said, it's on the verge, and it's close, and you need to keep an eye on that. And so he started to pay attention to the taste of the pizza on the days where the sauce was fresh. And he saw that there was the sauce from the store, from this particular brand of stores. It's a sweet basil with a hint of garlic. It's, oh my gosh, I've tasted sauces from different pizza places, and there's only 2 sauces that I really do like. Number 1 being Peter Piper, the original Peter Piper, not the crap that's coming out now from Chuck E. Cheese. And then today, Barros, the store that I'm working at, their taste, their flavor of the sauce is sweet, and I just, if you get the chance to come to Arizona and try a Barros, I recommend it. Anyway, so here I am, okay, and so I'm giving him this feedback, and over time the pizza has started to taste great. And then I'm talking to him about the dough, and I'm like, yeah, the dough feels a little dry, it feels this or that, or it feels too wet, it feels too hard. I said the dough is tough today, it's chewy. And so he started to see the difference when you start to really focus on the quality of the dough. And now when you have the quality of the sauce, and you have the quality of the dough, and the quality of the cheese, the quality of the toppings, and you start putting them all together, now you have a great tasting pizza. And what's been coming out of our ovens, he's like, people are coming up to him and they're saying, dude, this pizza is amazing. This pizza is phenomenal. Like, great job. You guys are doing amazing. It's awesome. I love the flavor and the taste. It's so delicious. And then I would tell him, I can tell the days when the pizza's too heavy. And I said, because we have so much crust left over or so much pizza left over and people can't take it home because it's just too much. It was just too much. But when the dough is fluffy and it's airy and it's soft, and then you put it in your mouth and you're just like, you can't get enough of it. You eat it and you want to eat all of it. And so he's now looking for the plates, the empty plates. And when he sees empty plates, he knows that it's good food. He knows that it's good, that day they did a good job. I'm not teaching them how to run the store. They know how to do that. They're managers. They've been doing it. I'm teaching them how to elevate to the next level. They're elevating to the next level. And so I've been telling them. And so in the beginning, they're like, oh, 12 grand's too far. 12 grand. I'm like, nope, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. At that time, the GM was telling the manager, you realize what this means, how much more work this is going to be. This means that, and this is just you and me. Like, we're going to have to do this. And he's like, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. We can do it. But I've been there to support them. I've been there to help them. I've been there without telling them what to do. I've been doing the work. I've been the shift manager. I've been running the shift. They don't have to worry about the front because they know when I'm there, I run it. All right, guys, this is where you're going to be. This, but I don't do what I want. I go to them and I'm like, okay, what do you want, people? And he's like, okay, I want this person in this place. I want that person in that place, and I want that person. I'm like, okay, cool, got it. And then I go and I do what they ask. And I say, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how we're going to work together. And you know what they've noticed? That we do it in the way that they want. They don't have to come up front and manage. They don't have to come up front and be the manager, because we can do the work. And this is what I've been telling them since the beginning, that they shouldn't have to run a position. They should be able to depend on their employees to do their jobs, and all they have to do is, okay, this spot needs me, I can jump in, get them out of the tight spot they're in, get them caught up. Okay, now I'm back. They can run that. Now I can jump over here. I can take care of this and help them out here. They're caught up. Okay, now I can jump over here and I can get this out. I can go talk to my customers and make sure they're still having a good time. And then okay, we're needing people at the register. I can jump in and help at the register because we got 2 people answering phones. Okay, and so I've been telling them, I said, this is the way you should be able to run a store. This is how you should be able to work your business. You shouldn't have to run a position. You should be able to stand back and say, I'm needed here, I'm needed there. You know, you're the fire, you're the fire extinguisher versus the fire starter, and now you're gonna have now you can't move anywhere because you're stuck. And so when the GM got the opportunity to feel what it was like not to run a position, and he's like, I like this. I could get used to this. And I said this in one of my previous videos, it's sad that you're not already used to it. Because I've been telling Cody, the managers, when I worked as an employee, they didn't work. They let the employees do the job because the employees should have known their jobs. They should know their position to the point where they only should have to jump in if it's needed. I said, the managers would hang out in the office until we got busy because they knew we could handle it. And as soon as we got busy, here they come, like football stars. 3 of them went out into the dining room. 1 went into the kitchen, and he'd take the person that was on the oven, he'd take them off, and send them to cut, and that person ended up having to go clean the dining room. And then he ran the oven. And Cody's been hearing these things, and he's like, she's not telling me how to run my store. She's giving me ideas of how they used to do things. She's telling me how the employees are not doing their jobs. They work enough to get their tips, and then they go home. That's what I've been telling him. And now he's seeing it. I said, don't take my word for it. Watch them. See what they're doing. If I hear something, I go back there and I'm like, hey, this is what I heard. Don't take my word for it. I want you to see it. And then guess what? Because behaviors don't change. And I said, and I'm not perfect. There are times where you have to call me out and be like, hey, can you get on the register? Hey, can you get the phone? I'm like, I'm a person. I make mistakes. It is what it is. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend, it wasn't me. I don't know what happened. Whenever I've made a mistake, I go to the GM. I'm like, hey, sorry, I messed up with this. And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, you can lash me later. And he just looks at me like, before, when people used to make a mistake, he would throw a fit. Now, when people make a mistake, he takes it in stride. Why? Because it's different. It's different. Before, they were making $80, $90, $100 mistakes. Now, they're making $10, $15, $20 mistakes. And they're happening once in a while, not all the time. It did. Before, he would throw things. I witnessed it. I saw him throw $100 worth of food on the floor, having a tantrum. And I just looked at him. With disapproval, because that's not a behavior of a GM. That's the behavior of a 16-year-old. And so he started to change his behavior, and he started to change his attitude. And the manager has started to change his attitude, because when I first started, he didn't like the GM. He was resentful to the GM because the GM got promoted before him, because the GM got fast-tracked. And he goes, what does he have that I don't? I have experience. I have this. I have that. But also, the GM wasn't teaching him to be a GM. Why? Because he doesn't know how. None of them learned how. I told them, I said, I used to train managers. That was my job. They would bring them in to me, and I would have to train them how to run a shift. Have to teach them how to recognize talents around them and how to put those people in positions. And I said, and when they didn't listen to me, I would force them to listen, because it was my job. I sat in the room with the managers, and they would ask me, what do you think of this person? And I would tell them the strengths, and I would tell them the weaknesses. I would tell them, if you pair this man up with this or that kind of attitude, he's going to be successful. If you put him in a store that has this or that, he's not going to work out. And I said, in this guy, he wants to change everything. He doesn't want to learn the way that we're doing things. And sometimes they'd get fired from there. They wouldn't even make it forward. And this is the kind of conversations. I wasn't telling him how to do his job, but I was explaining my experience, and then he would see my experience in action. Because he would talk to me. He was like, so this, and this. And I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, you're not doing anything wrong. That's great. It started with the dishes. And I said, Cody, you shouldn't have to do dishes. You have enough staff. They should be able to do the dishes for you throughout the day so that you don't have to do dishes. And he just looked at me. And that's when I started. I started doing the dishes. And I'm like, no, you're not staying here till 1 a.m. to do dishes because nobody else wants to do dishes. I'm done with my stuff. I'll get your stuff done too. And I was done by 10:30. And he'd be gone by 11. And now, he's gone by 10:30. On the nights that we close at 10. On the nights that we close at 11, the latest he'll get out is midnight. And I'll ask him, because I did in the beginning. I'm like, so what time did you get out last night? He's like, 10:45. He says, woohoo! Because he was getting out 1, 2 in the morning. He wasn't getting to see his wife. He wasn't getting to see his kids. And his wife was pregnant at the time. And he was tired. And now he gets to go home and have family time with his kids. He actually gets to be a husband to his wife. Not because of what I've done, but because of the way that I've learned things. God has used that knowledge to help them restructure their lives, their stores, so that now they have the opportunity to get to the next level and not feel the pain, not feel the strain. Because that was the GM's worry, that they were going to feel the pain, they were going to feel the strain of having to be making $1,000 in an hour. And we did it on Friday. We didn't even blink. Because I heard them. He looked at Cody and he says, dude, we just did $1,000 an hour. And I could hear Cody, let's do this. And he's like, and that's when he turned around and he realized, I didn't even feel it. We didn't feel it. We've been working shorthanded for a very long time. And before, when we didn't have the right people in the right place, we could feel it. We could feel the having to work harder and having to work farther. And now we had the right people in the right place, and it didn't feel like work. It didn't feel like we made $1,000 in an hour. And it wasn't because of me. It was because of the things that God has put in place. And because they were obedient in listening to the steps that he was putting in place, it was like a domino effect. Everything fell into place. Everything. And so I went home at 11:15 on Friday. And I took an Uber and I came home. And I had a quarter of a glass of wine left, and I learned my lesson. I couldn't sleep all night because my legs hurt so bad. God doesn't want me using ibuprofen because the medicine that men make hurt your bodies, destroy livers, destroy things. But the things that God makes, and there's certain brands God won't allow me to buy. He only allows me to buy the white wine. I will find out later, I'm sure, why the white grape and not the red grape. I don't know why, but it's the white grape. It's the white wine. I've tried the red grapes, and I can't drink more than one glass. I can't even drink the one glass. They've done something to the red grape that for some reason, God won't allow me to drink it. And I will find out why. Because everything comes to light. But he allows me to have the white grape. And he allows me to drink only certain wines from certain brands. And because the brands that I like are getting expensive, I won't buy those brands. But God is like, okay, there is a cheaper brand that you can buy that will give you the same. And so not last night, because now it's Saturday. So when I got home, I drank that quarter cup of wine, and I went to sleep because I had to sleep. And not even half an hour later, the pain in my legs, oh my goodness, it felt like my legs were the bones were being crushed. And then it was my hips and my back, and I cried, and I asked God to let me sleep. And that's when he said, should have bought the wine, huh? I was like, but, and he made me realize, we don't understand the healing powers of certain foods. That's why God is telling me that He's really, really pushing me. And well, I know, I understand now the different pushings. So before, I used to think when God was pushing me to something, then I had to do it right then and there. And so I would make the mistake of purchasing the items too soon. And then now that I've grown up a little more and I'm matured a little more and I'm a little bit more awake, I realize these unctionings are to show me that the time is getting closer. The time will soon be here. And I need to be ready so that when the time comes, and at such a time as this, I can now begin to do the things that God has led me to do, because things will fall into place and will be in the price range that I can do what I need to do in. Why am I saying this? Because last night, after all was said and done, when I got home, one of the first things, he never lets me count my money at the store. He never lets me count the money on the bus or on the Uber. He never lets me count anything outside. I always have to get home, take it all out of my pocket, sit down, breathe, and then he starts to get me to straighten out all the money and put it out and start to count it. Last night, just last night alone, he gave me $100. That was my take home, cash tips. And these were people that were coming to me and giving the money to me. And they were telling me, thank you for serving us like you have. You have made us feel welcome. You have made us feel special. And I said, you're welcome, because I love serving. And every single person says, we can tell. We can tell you love to serve. And it makes me smile, because people recognize that I like to serve. But it's my Father I love to serve with all my heart. And you can see I'm losing weight, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything to change my behavior, to change my eating habits. I still eat hamburgers, I still eat steak, I still eat pizza. I'm not doing anything except being obedient. Stop bringing the tears. Okay, so last night I was in so much pain. I had never been in such pain. And God said, I want you to have 2 glasses of wine a night until you're able to go get a massage and you can start to get the muscles to release. And it's because I'm doing so much, I don't have time to stretch. I don't have time. I don't have the space to stretch. And this isn't my permanent home. It's my temporary home. So there's a lot of things that I got to get done. And so the night was painful, but I slept throughout it. When I got up at 7 in the morning, God said, you can sleep in for half an hour. So I did. I slept in for half an hour. When the alarm clock rang, I had to go. So literally I put everything in my purse. I got dressed. I got my makeup on, did my hair, and it's getting cold because I turned on the air conditioner, but it's getting later and later, so the temperature outside is dropping. Anyway, so I had $194, and now I had $150 in cash. So I went to go to the bus, and then I remembered I forgot my battery charger, so that because my phone only has so much battery, God had led me to buy a battery charger so that I could have that charged, and I can charge it up to 4 times before that runs out, and then I have to plug it into an outlet. But God led me to actually, so I forgot it, and God's like, are you forgetting something? And I looked at my purse, and oh my God, I almost walked out without it, and I went back and I got it and I put it in my purse, and the purse was not closing, and God had led me to leave my headphones. And I'm like, but what if I want to listen to music? And he goes, you're not going to listen to music. And I should have listened. I should have left it behind, and I didn't. And because of that, I couldn't put my glasses in the purse. Because of that, I lost my glasses. But anyway, it's better my glasses than my phone, because Lucifer was after my phone. Okay. So I'm waiting for the bus, and as I'm walking to the bus that I was gonna take to take me to the other bus passed by. And I was like, dang it. And then God said, okay, walk to the other bus, the one that you take for work. I'm like, okay. I don't know why I got it in my head that I needed to get off on Alma School. But there's a reason God had me miss that bus. He didn't want me. There was something going on at the corner of where I was going to get off that he didn't want me there. He didn't want me there. So he had me take the other bus. But something was going to happen ahead of me, so he had me get off on Alma School. Because then I took the bus to where Main Street, where I'm supposed to get off. And I get there and I'm like, I wasn't supposed to get off here. I was supposed to get off on Sycamore. Shit. Okay. And then God says, see how much it costs to take an Uber. I'm like, okay. So I looked. It was $4 and some change. I'm like, okay, I'll just call for an Uber. Because the train had just passed. And I was going to wait for I was going to end up being like 9 minutes before my appointment time. And this lady was very adamant. She was like, if you're not gonna make it, make sure you call. And I'm like, okay, no, I'll be here. So I do not want to be late. And so I went, and God has been leading me periodically to go get pedicures. And I've been waiting, because I would feel the unction to go get, and then suddenly I'd be like, no, I can wait. Because I felt it, but I didn't feel it. It wasn't like, you gotta go now kind of thing. It was like you gotta go, do this. But it wasn't rushed or hot or it wasn't like an unctioning that I felt before. Because I know when he wants me to go, because he's made sure that I know when it's go time. Like with my eyebrows, I was gonna be like, oh, then I'll come back on Saturday. He was like, no, get them done now. And I was like, okay, can I at least get my eyebrows done? And she's like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And she charged me $12. So there's $20 I spent there. So I get an Uber, and I go, and God's like, have him drop you off at or mention that you're gonna get Starbucks. And I'm like, oh, oh, cool. I'm early, so I can go to the groceries. I can go to the Safeway and get Starbucks. And he goes, do you want me to drop you off over there so you don't have to walk all the way over there? That would be amazing. Thank you so much. So then, but let me back up. So as I was thinking about what shoes I was gonna wear,